Welcome to a new series called Fanfictions. I'm going to be reading to you many stories of random stuff, and today, as you all seen and heard from the last 15 seconds, I think, I'm going to be reading you today a creepypasta from, I don't know who made this, yeah, I'm not sure, but this one guy on a website, on Creepypasta Wiki, it's called Lavender Town, The Fear of Knowing. Now I'm gonna read this to you, and then, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of read it to you. That's pretty much it. So, hope you guys enjoy. Kevin wasn't done, and he invited us over for the next Friday night after he was finished. He was done for the most part, he said, but he wanted to make sure he had it exactly right. We agreed, and a week later, Teddy and I were again at his house. This time, he was finished, and he had something very surprising to show us. He had a sound file of Lavender Town music, looping for about 5 hours and 2 minutes. The missing frequencies we put in there, sometimes loud and obnoxious humming or screeching. For the most part, however, they were quite nearly unnoticeable. The actual loop did not actually complete until the large sound file ended. Really though, it was nothing more than weird, creepy noises inserted into already creepy music. We figured as much as it just was a creepypasta. It was then when Teddy suggested that we write our own creepypasta about our experiences in the past week or so. We had to make it original, as well as giving a unsettling tone to it. So we decided that we write a story about converting the sound file into text. Teddy was the brains behind this. He was a writer and wrote short horror stories for a webzine? What? His style was heavily inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, so I knew he would come up with something good in a setting like this. The story, in summary, went like this. Sorry about that. I just need to drink some water. Alright. The three of us were trying to recreate the creepypasta about the missing frequencies in Lavender Town. After doing this, and finding nothing totally creepy or disturbing about it, Teddy suggested we convert the sound files into text. When we opened the text file and translated it, the long string of binary code in reverse, we uncovered a story about a young Japanese woman. Alright, hold on. Before I continue, the woman gets f***ed and murdered by a serial killer. Of course, partially just for laughs, and some to validate our story. We tried to do just that. I converted the video into a text file, broke down the corrupted characters into pure binary code, reversed it, and ran it through an English translator. Nothing unusual, just a string of random letters. And then I tried another thing, just for fun. I converted the code into a video. What we found. At first, when I did this, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. A bunch of flashing lights, random beeping sounds, the usual outcome of converting pure audio into pure video. And then a picture flashed for a split second. So fast that I couldn't see exactly what it was. It was enough that I can distinguish it. Ow. What the heck? Different than the rest of the video. I then isolated the picture in a still frame, and found that it was a photo of a forest in late summer or early autumn. It was heavily distorted. Some colors were missing along with many pieces of the picture, and the whole photo was in terrible quality. I was both intrigued and freaked out at the same time. It was then when we began to realize that there's no more Lavender Town than just stories. I took the file home and began to manipulate the data some more. I began to add this in other isolated code that I previously shelved to try to see if it made any difference in the picture. It did. Some of the raw data from the Sylph-scope, yeah, quest, including Team Rocket's base, the scripted encounter with Mirrorwax Ghost, and some of the dialogue from the possessed channelers in Pokemon Tower directly fit into the data of the forest picture. Although the picture was still of bad quality, the color balances were fairly normal and most of the pixels were intact. As I was improving the quality of the one picture, more pictures began to show in the video. Most of them were the same, Autumn Forest, but taken at different angles and locations. One, however, was different. The picture was taken in a dark room, one that looked like in a basement. There was a distorted humanoid figure staring past the camera. The only way I could put this in perspective is comparing it to Slenderman plus a disfigured pale head. This really freaked me out, but I was not the one to quit when I came across something like this. I believed in ghosts, and had some personal encounters when I was a child. I wasn't superstitious and didn't believe in magic. I figured out that there was a scientific explanation for everything, even ghosts. We just haven't discovered it yet. I showed Teddy, and his reaction was very different. He didn't want anything to do with the project anymore. He wouldn't answer my phone calls or emails towards him, and he was the only one I knew that could help me from this point forward. So I drove to his house and forced him to talk with me. At this point, I kept uncovering more and more pictures, and by now I realized that they began to form into a video. The frames were all jumbled up in a sequence though, so it would take some time. Aside from the hours it would take to decode all the pictures and improve their quality, to assume the video, I needed his help. After nearly an hour and a half of arguing, he reluctantly agreed to help me. He came from a deeply religious family, and naturally, he was very superstitious, so I imagined this would be hard for him. I'm not going to explain the month that ensued after the day in detail. What we did, though, was work hours on end, consistently decoding and rearranging still frames. We would spend entire weekends on our computers. We would take days off of work and school. We were sleepy and food deprived. We were just about to collapse from fatigue when we finally finished. I am also not going to try and explain the video to you. I want you to see for yourself. I will end my story with this. This is real. Whether you believe it or not, it's up to you. I don't know how old this guy is, probably 20 or something. He has a friend and everything. But I'm about to show you some of the video that he mentioned from the story. Once I show it to you, that'll be it for this little fan reading of a creepypasta.
Oh.